Hey all, Bree from the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I have got a gift for you this holiday season. If you love the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I mean love the No Guilt Mom podcast, then tell us about it. Leave us a review, and you can be entered to win a No Guilt Mom gift card. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and then simply go to noguiltmom.com/review to enter our giveaway for a free No Guilt Mom gift card, simply for telling us what you think about the podcast. It is amazing. But don't delay. Get right on this, as we're going to be giving away that No Guilt Mom gift card on December 21st. So get right on over and visit noguiltmom.com/review.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Bree Tucker.
Hello, hello.
I like the singing. Co-host.
I know.
I still want us to like start finding ways to put like little Easter eggs in the episodes where like we're singing from a certain musical and see who can figure it out. Or a song.
Wait for it. I am the one thing in life I can't control. You don't get that one? That's Hamilton.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes, Leslie Odom Jr. Hamilton.
Oh,
Wait
man.
for it. I'm not quite as good as like.
Wait for
Hold on
it.
a second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It took me a minute. Well, okay. In all fairness, you do know the soundtrack better than I do.
I know. Yeah, I
That
listened to
was-
it a lot.
You know what's funny? So like this episode is going to air, January 21. And I'm thinking back to when Hamilton came out. That was like at the beginning of the whole quarantine mess. And
It
like
was in July because it was an Independence Day thing.
Oh, was it July?
Yeah.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. Time is in
July.
this weird
Time,
thing.
Yeah, time just is
But
crazy.
But you know what? I look back at those like the good old days of the quarantine.
it does feel, I hated the phrase new normal. Like we have to get used to a new normal at the beginning. But now I feel like it is kind of a new normal. And it's not a thing anymore, even though I still don't like the phrase new normal. I'm like, just say it one more time.
It is. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah. Well, today's guest, Kristen from stepmomming.com, we're going to talk about step parenting.
yes, and I was so excited to have her on because again, if you guys listen to us, you've heard me mention I am divorced. I have a relationship too. My current, it sounds so weird to say boyfriend, but my current
boyfriend.
partner,
Mhm.
a partner sounds better to me. I don't know why.
It sounds more grown up.
It does.
Boyfriend sounds like you're in high school.
It does. Thank you.
It's like I don't like to be judgy about that, but that is like the first thing that comes to mind,
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah. So
and
you're
you
like,
guys are like more than just boyfriend. Like boyfriend. It sounds more casual, and I don't feel that's like Miguel and you. You're not casual.
No. So he's a keeper. We're there for good.
Yeah.
But so I would say the partner. So so with that being said, like I would say at least once a week we talk about trying to figure out the whole step parent role,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a hard one. Like where does he step in, or where does he let me take the lead and he supports me? And like if he does have an objection or
Yeah.
something he feels differently, how does he say that? And then also just dealing with the whole walking the line of being stepdad and not trying to make sure he's respecting the boundaries of dad
Mm-hmm.
as well.
That sounds like a really, really hard line to really stay on.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So I was so excited when we met Kristen. We met her at Mom 2.0.
Virtually. We met her virtually.
Yes.
It's amazing what you can do via Zoom these days.
Well, hey, 2020. Hashtag
2020.
2020, man. So we met her there and I was like, wow, this is so awesome because she offers coaching
Yes.
for
step
moms that are
parents.
going through this.
She's a certified step-parent coach.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's amazing to have somebody who's able to help guide you through. Because while I love reading my books and I love getting info that way, sometimes you have questions and then it's like, who do I ask?
Mhm.
Right?
So you can go to
right there.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Kristen, you can go to stepmomming.com, where she's the founder, and she shows stepmoms around the world that stepmomming is what they do and not who they are, encouraging them to embrace their unique roles and create a future of peace and happiness. And she has a stepdaughter who is 10 years old. So we hope that you enjoy our conversation with Kristen. This episode is brought to you by Homework Simplified. It is our free parent online event that if you feel like you're the only one trying to get your kids to focus, or you are fighting every day about homework, come and join Homework Simplified. You're going to meet other parents there. You're going to meet me and Bree. We walk you through our proven strategies to simplify your homework routine. And like, we go live, so you can ask us any question that you like, and we help you right there on the spot. So you can join at noguiltmom.com/homework-simplified. The link is in the show notes as well. And let's get on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom Podcast.
Hey, Kristen, welcome to the podcast. We are so happy to have you here.
Hello. I'm so stinking excited.
And I see like a big shelf of books behind you. And like, you totally have my heart when I see all those books. I used to have as of this Sunday, there was a huge thing of books back there, and we're kind of redoing the office, and they're all downstairs now. But I love a fellow lover of books. So
yes, I told y'all we're actually moving in a month, and I don't have built-ins there. So I'm like, now I get to dream up the bookshelf that I want, which is almost more exciting.
Ooh.
That's what we did downstairs. We did a built-in. My brother-in-law built it for us, and it's dreaming up a bookshelf is amazing.
Some built-in bookshelf.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Fellow bookworm.
It's like you're just happy surrounded by all the books.
What are your favorite types of books? What do you like to read?
I feel like I'm supposed to tell you step-parenting books, but those tend
let's
to
go
sit
guilty
on my
pleasure. Let's go guilty pleasure books.
Yeah.
What guilty pleasures do you like?
Honestly, I love books that are written by celebrities that I like. Like, I love Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls, and I've read all her books. So that's my guilty pleasure book that I would never have told anybody if you hadn't asked.
Okay. That's a good thing. We should like ask these guilty pleasures. I like guilty pleasures. Mine are like thrillers. I love like thrillers and whodunits, like the crime series, but not like too grisly crime, like the Ruth Ware and the Woman in Cabin 10. That kind of genre is like my favorite. What about you, Brie?
I loved Gone Girl.
Gone Girl was so good.
I want to read that. I haven't gotten to that one yet. Right now, I would say it probably is like, I do enjoy the thrillers, but you also know like and I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure by any means, but I really enjoy Glennon Doyle. Like every book I get by her, it's done. Like I start it, and like next thing I know, I'm like, no, how is it over already?
She's on that shelf right there.
She's in that one, yeah.
With Brene Brown.
Yes.
Right. That's why I'm like, it's not really a guilty pleasure, but it definitely is one. And I do really enjoy reading the child development books, but it's funny because like I'll get halfway through them and I'm like, okay, next one.
I have 3 books I'm always reading at one time. I'll have a business book. Like right now I'm reading Ego-Free Leadership. I'll have a parenting book, which is Happy Campers right now by Audrey Monkey. And then I'll have a fun book, which is The Somnambulist, which is a very good, like, set in Victorian London, like it's something evil happening beneath the city kind of book.
See, okay, and hearing that you're reading 3 books at once to me is very overwhelming. And I am one of those people that at 41, I have a whole set of divided plates at my house. And like, I don't like things mixing. So right there, that's like the idea of like a casserole, which you just did.
They're
like,
in separate buckets. They're each in their little divided plate section. They're separate genres.
But
so
you
I can keep
read them like,
I do. So Kristen, for those of our audience who have not met you yet, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
I run an entire website dedicated to helping overwhelmed stepmoms. My whole goal is to validate their experiences, assure them that they're not alone, and just provide guidance along their journey. There's no handbook for being a stepmom, and so I do my best to provide that. There's kind of 4 different pieces of my business. We've got the blog. Every week we put out a new article that's meant to just help and validate. I've got coaching where I work one-on-one or in a group with stepmoms. We have a shop that's full of printables that just kind of help take it to the next level if you need something to put in front of you. And then we have a private Facebook group, which again, just you are not alone. Stepmomming can feel so isolating. And so just trying to give them that community where they can really recognize that they are not the only ones going through
I love
these
it.
trials.
I love it. That is so important. I think a sense of community is huge, right?
It's huge. And like the typical like view of stepmoms in the media has always been the Disney movies with like the evil stepmoms. And I feel like women placed into that role, they usually don't have a positive like source to turn to.
My son is playing a game right now on his computer where he's a thief and the cops are after him. So I'm so excited about this new app, Give As We Grow, where instead of being the quote unquote bad guys, kids are practicing giving back.
That is so cool, Joanne. I really wish that there was something like this when my kids were younger that got them excited about giving back to others and helped them build a better understanding of what it really means to volunteer.
Give As We Grow is the first of its kind free educational mobile app for children ages 8 to 11 that teaches kids via fun, service-focused minigame quests to tap into their unique talents and interests to help others.
And did you know that studies show that there is a biological connection between generosity and happiness, and that volunteering improves people's physical and mental health? I mean, kids who volunteer typically do better in school and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And that is something that I think we all want for our kids.
Ready to spark a new movement in generosity? Find and download Give As We Grow for free in the App Store for Android and iOS. And for resources for the whole family, visit giveaswegrow.org.
Hey, all, Bree here, and I wanted to share one of my favorite gifts to give during the holiday season, a Storyworth book. It is the most amazing gift ever. Storyworth is an online service that lets you create a special and unique gift of someone's story. I've given Storyworth books to both of my parents, and it has been their favorite gift, hands down. And did I mention it is so easy? Storyworth emailed my parents questions every week that I handpicked from their massive list of questions that they have. All my parents had to do was open their email and answer them. That easy. I asked my dad questions like, did you have any rules that you set for yourself as a parent, which you immediately broke? And he did. I even asked both of my parents, are you more like your mom or your dad? And they shared a lot of really amazing qualities that I didn't know about my grandparents at the time. Then at the end of the year, Storyworth compiles all of their answers, puts them into this gorgeous book that covers everything. My parents love showing us their books, and I personally love getting a chance to read them. With Storyworth, I am giving those I love a thoughtful and personal gift from the heart that preserves their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/NGM and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/NGM to save $10 on your first purchase.
Yeah, it's so hard living up to just trying to overcome that. You know, if you work so hard to not be the evil stepmom, to prove we're not all evil. And it's great to see that positive representation. That's really what we're all about.
And on your blog, you talk about your kind of journey into being a stepmom and your relationship also with your stepdaughter's mom. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it has been a journey. I think there's this expectation that things were easier for us because we are at a place where I would call her a friend. At one point, I would have called her a best friend. And so people just assume it's easy, and it's certainly not. Every relationship has ebbs and flows, has ups and downs. We ended up working on this blog together where we talked a lot about our experiences. And so she could understand my perspective as the stepmom. I could understand her perspective as the divorced mom. And it really helped us get so much closer as co-parents, but also as friends. And then, of course, things happen. There are fights, there are hurt feelings throughout the years, but getting to a place where we can talk about that has just been hugely transformational for us.
Wasn't there a time, I think I remember a story where she had to move in with you guys for a period of time? Tell me about that. That is like awkward with a capital A.
Yeah, it is. So they were saving up. They wanted to buy a place of their own. They had had a temporary living situation, and it was to a place they still needed to save. So they needed to stay somewhere. And it was either with us or living with his brother an hour away. We had never met the guy, felt kind of uncomfortable about that. Plus the commute to and from school here in our district. We were like, that's going to be really hard on her. So my husband asked me, do you think it would be okay? We just moved into our home here and had extra bedrooms. And I was like, yeah, I mean, how am I going to tell my husband he can't see his daughter every day?
Right? Like
Yeah.
that had to put you in a really difficult position.
Yeah, I was not yet sure what boundaries were.
Yeah, I was not yet sure what boundaries were. I think that's a great way to put
And
it.
you learned by fire, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, in as many ways as you can imagine, it was really difficult. Roommates are hard anyway. Dishes in the sink are hard anyway. But watching your husband's ex-wife cook dinner for the family in the kitchen, that's triggering.
Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
For a lot of ways, it was really challenging. In a lot of ways, it was also really good for us. I mean, her husband and my husband really bonded. They would go play golf all the time. We got even closer with her other daughter that she has with her new husband. And there was a lot of bonding that happened, but there was also obviously a lot of challenges along the way. Don't recommend for anyone.
was-
Like, that's not how to bond.
No.
You're like, don't ever think that that's a good idea for bonding, but for the circumstances you guys were handed.
Mhm.
And again, as a fellow divorced mom, I think that that's amazing what you did. Like, and I know I've seen your stuff on your blog and you talk a lot about like, don't be a martyr. It's have your boundaries, be you. But I have to just say, like, the divorced mom in me wants to like hug you so hard right now and be like, that was so amazing that
Thank
you
you.
were able to go through that. And yeah.
I feel like I just went ahead and learned the lesson for everybody. So nobody else
Yes.
has to do it. Just listen to what I say and how it went, what I learned, and then we're all good.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times, like, those situations where we feel the most uncomfortable and the most troubled, those are where we take hold of our strength to then go and help other people. And I feel like you've really done that well with taking this this uncomfortable, not recommended situation and really transforming it into what you do now. So, what are some like common pressures that stepmoms feel, the stepmoms who don't have to live in the same house?
I know.
I think there's three really big ones. One of them we've already kind of talked about is just overcoming this evil stepmom stereotype. We feel this pressure to prove our worth. Here's what I bring to the table. I'm not evil. Look at me being great, feeling like we have to do that. I think another one, which is common for, I think, moms across the board, correct me if I'm wrong, but feeling like you have to put your family's needs before your own.
Check. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. And we can wear ourselves out doing that. And then specifically for the stepmom struggle, feeling like you have to step up, love your stepkids like your own, but don't overstep. Like, there's a fine line there. It's a tricky balance. So we feel this pressure to give and give, but don't overgive, and just navigate this journey where there's, like I said, there's really no handbook.
Right.
Do you ever
Right.
feel like, you can never really win so much because there might be someone else will feel you overstep that you didn't even know where you overstepped? And does that boundary ever move?
Oh gosh, yes. You're always aiming for a moving target, and sometimes we don't realize it's a boundary until it's been crossed. I mean, like with me with the painting, I didn't realize that was a boundary until it had been crossed. So it's not just my side; it's also the divorced mom side. But it can be so challenging, and I have overstepped more times than I want to admit, not realizing. I mean, my intention was never malicious, but I did overstep, and then I had to kind of backtrack and apologize for that and try again to navigate this role in a way that's respectful for everybody else, as well as respecting my own.
I think I'm hearing some really great things there. I'm hearing like having that open communication, keeping that open mind that, okay, if there was a mistake, if a boundary was crossed, we learn from it, right?
Right.
That's what it is.
So, talking about those parenting decisions where you feel like you might have overstepped, like what is one of those that you felt you've been judged for?
So when I think about what I've been judged for, it's less about overstepping and more about protecting my own boundary. So we got married on St. John, the US Virgin Islands, and we were preparing to fly out. And I said, okay, the next time I see you, like, we're going to be on the island, we're going to be getting married, and we're going to be a family, and just so excited. And she just looked up at me and she was like, when we get married, can I call you mom? And it was like the sweet, wonderful emotion that you imagine of, oh, that's the validation that you're looking for. But I was immediately like, nope. I needed to respect a boundary of her mom's that she had never set, but it was also about me knowing I could never feel comfortable trying to live up to that title because I was never going to be her mom. So I made that decision. I've written about it on the blog and I get a lot of heat for it, that I've restricted her voice or I haven't supported her. The way that story ends is that she now calls me Mama K. It's a title that's just for me. It's so special. And hearing her say that, I mean, she's 10 and she still calls me Mama K. And it's so sweet. And that just brings so much more joy to me than if she called me mom. I would have felt like a fraud. Knowing my personal experience, my personal feelings, I could not live up to that title and feel comfortable with it. And I have absolutely been judged for telling her, no, you can't call me mom. But that was a boundary I had to respect for her mom and for me.
Which I think it's so important to know your own boundaries and to respect that. So that
Kudos.
is a great
Huge
example
kudos.
of boundaries. Now, like at No Guilt Mom, we also, in addition to the boundaries, we talk a lot about making sure your own needs are met. As a woman outside of parenthood, what is one thing that you do to yourself that is just for yourself and helps you like become a better parent because of it?
Spending time with the people I love and the people who make me laugh and remember why I'm so great. And that sounds so self-serving, but I laugh when I'm with them and I'm carefree, and my best friend, my sister, my nephews, just thinking about how much more vibrant I am with them. And that's how I can recharge.
No, I like, okay, so when you said that self-serving, thinking like how you're so great, I think we as moms need more of that because so much we put ourselves into our families that we forget what we are outside of ourselves. I get that all the time. And I find that when I'm with girlfriends and I'm not trying to hold up to any roles, but I just like let myself be and laugh so hard, you're like, oh, I'm kind of a cool person. Like, but you forget that as a parent.
I know, you're right. You're right. It feels silly having to say all the time, but I do. I say it a lot, and you know this. I'm a cool mom.
Yeah.
We're cool mom.
Yeah, but
we're
even
fun people.
But one step over that, like you're a cool person.
Oh yes,
outside of being a mom.
But yes, it's definitely about like we're cool individuals the way we are. Like it's just remembering who we are. And like you were saying, like you've said plenty. I've seen about how it's so easy to get swallowed up and lost in those other identities, right?
Yeah, I definitely personally went through what I call an identity crisis, where I had given my all to the stepmom role and stopped doing things for me because I thought I needed to be fully present with my family. And one day I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. I wasn't being true to me. I wasn't being the happy, vibrant person that I used to be. And that's why I intentionally chose the motto for the blog of stepmomming is what you do, it's not who you are. Because I needed that reminder just as much as other stepmoms do.
Yeah, that identity piece is so important. And I think it applies not just to stepmoms, but all women in general, because we feel like we have to give our all to our roles as caretakers and children wranglers, and we lose ourselves. Like, I think I have gone through that as well when I stopped teaching and being in the classroom and having that role. It's a huge thing. Identity is a huge thing. And like, I think all moms, we totally experience guilt. And you say it could be different from stepmoms for stepmoms and how they experience that guilt.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. It is so hard to raise kids who know how to manage money. Bree, right now, my kids are all about earning money for presents. My daughter wants to get presents for all of her friends, and my son is doing a Secret Santa with his friends.
Oh, I hear you. And if you're looking to raise kids that are financially responsible, we have got a lifesaver recommendation for you that you need to check out. It is Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families that gives kids and teens an easy and fun way to gain financial literacy, all while giving parents peace of mind.
You can send instant money transfers, automate allowance, and even keep an eye on kids' spending with real-time notifications. Meanwhile, your kids can begin their journey towards financial autonomy by learning how to save, invest, and spend wisely.
So sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/NGM.
That's greenlight.com/NGM to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/NGM. We're hitting that time of year where my brain gets so overloaded in December that I look for anything to make life easier. And I have to say, Brie, that Green Chef is one of those services.
Yes, Green Chef is there to take away the dreaded, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You can eat clean all holiday long with over 80 weekly meal options each week, featuring things like quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, or my personal favorite, the keto options.
And you don't have to lose track of healthy eating habits during the holidays because every Green Chef customer gets a free session with one of their registered dietitians who can walk you through how to make clean eating work for you, which is very cool.
And I have to say that I have been loving their recipes lately. They put things together I have never thought of. This week, we're trying the lemon basil caper pork with sauteed cauliflower, bell peppers, almonds, and feta cheese, my favorite. Their recipes make it so easy to support my wellness goals without skipping on flavor.
For Green Chef's best deal of the year, get $250 off with code NGM250 at greenchef.com/NGM250. That's greenchef.com/NGM250. And don't forget to use that code NGM250 to get $250 off.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
So how do you suggest that stepmoms deal with the guilt and shame that comes with
Being a
stepmomming?
stepmom.
I know for stepmoms that our guilt often arises from not being able to meet expectations that others have placed on us and feeling like you have to fill a role that you just simply aren't capable of and feeling like you should be able to. But when you can be really true to what you bring to the table and filling a role in your family that feels authentic to you, then you can give in a way that feels more natural and stand true in the confidence that you are doing everything you can for your family and you are being the person they need. And that's how I've been able to kind of silence that guilt of, no, I'm doing everything I need to. Forget your expectations. I'm filling my own and providing for my family in a great, meaningful way.
What do you feel are some of those expectations that others are placing on you as a stepmom?
So there's so many. Like I said earlier, feeling like you have to love your stepkids. Some stepmoms can't. They can't build that bond, and that's not always a reasonable expectation. They can respect their stepkids without having developed a love relationship. It's also not usually possible for a stepmom to love her stepkids the same way she loves her own. And asking or expecting that is not reasonable. Expecting the stepmom to immediately bond with her family, not reasonable. It takes 4 to 7 years usually for a blended family to truly blend and feel like they're in a good groove. Expecting her to come in and be mom of her home isn't reasonable either because the stepkids often have a very involved mom in their lives. And so expecting that from her, it's just not practical. It's not something we can actually do in our homes in a way that respects others' boundaries and is true to what feels right for us.
Those are like some powerful things.
Yeah.
And I could see how guilt inducing and shame inducing each of those expectations are.
And you know what I also found really interesting? You talked about how you said that, well, you're not a mom of your own, but everything you were saying, it's very similar, yet very different. The guilt that you feel as a mom, you do feel judged as a mom all the time and that you're not doing it well enough and all these other things. So to add on the extra, what is the word I'm looking for? Perspectives or the extra angle that you have as a stepmom that you have in a role as a step. That's a lot of pressure to have to work through. And it feels like you would probably also, on top of all that, have some shame that would make you hesitant to talk with your partner about it too, right? Because a lot of it centers around something that's very personal and very attached to them. And that's a hard conversation.
And I think that's just an added layer that you've touched on, that you're afraid to talk to your partner and say, am I equipped for this? Can I handle this? Am I doing enough? For me, I talked to my sister, I talked to my mom, and I talked to other people who were often my safe place and my support system, but they weren't stepmoms. And so the feedback I often got was, you knew what you were signing up for. And
That's not fair.
That's not helpful at
At
all.
all.
I'm so glad y'all recognize that because we hear that a
Yeah.
lot and it's not helpful.
See, you've actually made me aware of like a common stepmom stereotype about loving your stepkids as much as you love your own kids. Like that's something that's said a lot. I see that a lot, and that's an expectation. And hearing you talk about it, I'm like, okay, it's probably not possible to have that right away. It's possible to have that respect, but to have that same bond, it's asking too much. So as a stepmom, like we always like to encourage really self-empowered and independent kids. So what's like one hack that you use to encourage this independence and self-sufficiency in your stepdaughter?
So I'm lucky that I have a stepdaughter who loves lists. I am very much a list person, and so is she.
Check.
She loves it. She has a dry erase marker.
Yeah, the joy of the check mark. They're fabulous.
Yes. So we have a before school checklist and after school checklist. And my favorite hack is I can pack my own lunch checklist. And so we'll write on it like what entrees she has, what healthy choices she has, and she knows exactly how to pack her own lunch, because that was something before. It's like she had it her way. There would be mac and cheese and Pringles and a dessert. So helping her to, empower her to do her own lunch, which was huge. That was a huge first step. But then to also make healthy choices on top of that was really helpful for her, but great for me to not have that on my plate and set boundaries of my own of what I can and can't do in my home.
I think that's amazing. And I love
Yes.
like the little steps, because it's like first you make your own lunch and then healthy lunchtime. So tell our listeners where they can find out more about you.
You can find me at stepmomming.com or at stepmomming on Pinterest, Instagram, or Facebook. I'm at stepmomming blog on Twitter, not super active on Twitter, but happy to talk with anybody at any time who feels like they are a stepmom. And I want to also clarify, stepmom doesn't mean you're married. In my mind, if you are dating somebody who has kids, you're in the stepmom role, you're facing the same struggles. And often those early stages are even more complicated than once you've gotten into a groove in a marriage. So if you are dating someone with kids, I would love to talk to you, validate your experience.
I really love it that you pointed that out, because it's not something that occurs magically. At the moment you say I do, or at, wave of the wand of a certain time, you magically have the role of becoming a stepmom. Yeah.
What are you really excited about right now?
I am really excited right now about our group coaching program. I feel like every week that we go through this program, it just gets better. We've got weekly calls, and in addition to, the stepmom sharing her struggle, I can also give her coaching there, but beyond that, she's getting validation from the other stepmoms in the group. I also have this course that I've created that goes with it. In addition to the here and now, she's also able to build up these strategies for long-term success and really creating a mindset around peace.
I love that. I love
Yes.
how you are filling this need for stepmoms where they before have not received validation. And now you're coming in and being like, no, this is how it is. And this is how like you might run into this, and showing them like all of the struggles they might come against so that they're prepared and they feel less guilt and shame. So what you're doing is just amazing. And we are so, so thankful you've decided to come on and share it with us.
It has been so awesome getting to talk to you. I just so appreciate everything you do to really normalize experiences for moms.
Well, we will talk to you soon. Kristen was so enjoyable.
Yes, I loved getting to chat with her. And you know what was really amazing? Her talking about just the guilt that you have as a step parent, that like people expect you to do it all and to do it all with a smile.
Yes.
And have no issues.
I feel it's a very universal thing. And I almost want to think like maybe it is a female like societal expectation that you do it all with a smile, and that it's, same as for stepmoms as it is for like non-stepmoms, and like it's a female thing. Like they expect you to do it all with a smile.
Right. I mean, so like the common themes we heard from our conversation with her, that, it's not that it was a shock, but it kind of was a shock. Like, yes, they are expected to do everything with a smile and know exactly how to handle it. And then also the importance of boundaries.
Oh my gosh. Boundaries would be very, very tricky to navigate, I feel.
Yeah, but they're important. And I think boundaries are tricky to navigate both as a step parent and as a regular parent. Like sometimes we forget that we need those boundaries to be able to be healthy and exist and continue, man.
Yes, you use your no to protect your yes.
Yes, exactly.
But it's hard like to feel like if you're always stepping on someone else's toes, and the fear of doing that, that's tricky as well.
Right. So I'm so glad that Kristen's there and she's doing her coaching, because I feel like it's a much needed support for a lot of parents.
Make sure you go check her out at stepmomming.com. And hey,
while you're
how
here,
do you like the podcast? And while you're here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get a new episode from me and Brie every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you have a minute or two, we would really, really appreciate it if you rate and review the podcast as well. Hopefully we deserved your 5 stars. If you could just rate it and then, write a quick little 2 sentences about the podcast and what you like so that other moms can find it as well. Because we are on a mission to help parents feel less guilty about all things parenting and help them raise kids to be more self-sufficient. Until next time, remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by. Are you looking for something to listen to with your whole family? Then check out 6 Minutes, produced and created by Gen Z Media. With over 200 twisty, cliffhanger-filled episodes, 6 Minutes tells the story of 11-year-old Holiday who was pulled from the icy waters with no memory of who she is or where she came from.
3 years ago, Brinley Pasternak helped the Anders family uncover the truth about Holiday's past. Now she'll need them to help her find the truth about hers. In 6 Minutes Out of Time, the long-awaited sequel, Cyrus Anders is found unconscious near the mysterious Elixir Academy in Florida, and Brinley learns the school may have a shocking connection to her missing mother.
Dive in now and get the most downloaded family audio adventure in history. Follow 6 Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free with the GZM family subscription.